Hello, my hey people. I am so excited about today's guest. Well, yes, I love my guests, but I even love them more when I know them and I adore them. And I've been privileged to have Claire in my life. So it's been so freaking awesome to say, hey, can you be on the show? Of course, it took like 6 months to get us together, but man, oh man, I just think the world of this woman. And most of the time, I only get to see her virtually, but it's better than nothing. But there you go, baby. How are you, Claire?
I'm good. And how are you, Sandy?
Well, Claire, this is my year to do things that scare the crap out of me.
Well, I hope people check out the talk that you just uploaded because I think it's phenomenal.
Aw,
It's
thank
really
you.
short, sweet, inspiring, to the point. I was moved. I was laughing. It was everything you want in a short talk with lots of impact.
Well, thank you. And of course, as a leader, you would do that and give somebody else the props. But let's get to you. And I want to read the bio. I was so excited. Claire Brown Kohler is a business coach, public speaker, so I met her, and leadership trainer. As the owner of We Empower Leaders, she focuses on guiding leaders and business owners to address themselves and their teams with empathy, insight, passion, and inspired vision for the future. With over 30 years of executive level corporate leadership and business experience, she inspires people to achieve more, earn more, yay, and produce more with intentionality. Claire, who doesn't want that, man? Who doesn't want
I have to preface the 30 years by saying I started when I was very young.
12, 13, 5, who knows? Numbers.
Actually, I will say I've been practicing my core principles that I'll be talking about today pretty much my entire life. So I did start these principles very young in my life.
You know, so many people that I admire tell me that. Like they didn't know they were doing it when they were younger, but they were doing it then and they just are doing the same thing, just a little bit differently. Isn't it crazy? Isn't there a book, Everything I Learned in kindergarten?
Kindergarten, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, drum roll. Why'd you pick this? And I love it.
Well, what I found personally, and then with a lot of my clients and friends, is that I was told don't say the term autopilot, but it's true. Many of us go through life without taking a stopping and thinking about what we truly want, where we want to go, what's important to us, our core values. So it occurred to me that if we looked at running our life like we look at running a company, we would have a very different perspective on it. So I've got the 7 steps to determine your destiny, but I'm going to whittle them down today for simplification's sake to 3 core principles that I think really enable us to really design a life that we want. The first one is pay attention to your own personal self development. You actually have to make a commitment to that. It doesn't just happen. You have to say, I'm open to learning. I'm curious. I don't know what I don't know. And you go out and you look at it. The if you can become objective, and I like to say have a very good sense of humor about yourself.
Yes.
I laugh at myself all the time because I just look at what I'm doing and I'm thinking, really, you're doing that right now? Okay. Because compassion, self-compassion has got to be a part of it, right?
Yeah.
Kindness towards yourself. But if you're mindful and you look at how you are being and you develop a degree of your own emotional self-intelligence, right? What am I doing right now? How am I responding? It gives you the ability to adapt better, to change. It gives you the ability to steer your life with more direction and clarity. It enables you to make much better decisions because once you're clear about who you are, what you want, where you want to go, even down to what you want to eat for dinner or the job that you want to apply for, or the neighborhood you want to live in, when you develop that level of self-awareness, and some might say self-discipline, I think that you really start to get ahead. I personally carved time out from this. I actually put it on my calendar. Saturday was a day that I spent in reading and contemplation. And
Really?
yeah, I'm reading The Power of Intention by Wayne Dyer. I
Oh,
my website, I have a whole web page of my favorite development tools, self-development tools, because I think it's really important.
mm,
The next thing, as you know, is build significant, purposeful relationships.
yeah.
And I've been doing this since high school when I came back from the third point is take meaningful action. I had just come back from in the summer of 10th grade, I was an exchange student. And I came back and I looked at my life and I said, you know what? I don't like my friends. So I found this group of people. They were running the high school yearbook and the newspaper. And I said, I want to be friends with them. And my best friend said the same thing. So every other weekend we took turns. I didn't know these kids. I just said, come to my house for a party. And then the next weekend she'd say, come to my house for a party. And I won't tell you how many years later, but we're all still friends, despite the fact that we are scattered internationally at this point, and we still have periodic reunions together. And because I said, I want to know those kids, and I brought them together. We're in a group together. So,
I know I have my Nabo mug though, how we originally met. I just had to.
so when you look at who do you want to have in your life, and there's some quote about this, right? We're the sum of, I don't know, the top 5 people in our lives.
Yeah.
You really want to look at who you're hanging out with and who's empowering you, because we will either sink to the lowest level of energy that we're with, or we will rise to the highest energy of the people that we're with. So, and from your friends and your relationships and your situations, you get support, you get outside perspective, you get an outlet to vent, which I've used many times. I did this recently. I put together a group of 3 other coaches, and for 3 years, we've been meeting every other week. You and I put together another group that, speakers support group. So
Yep.
step 2 is really have significant, purposeful relationships. And then step 3 is take meaningful action. I ask people, how many of your great ideas died in the shower? So in my 7 steps to determine your destiny, the first thing is know your core values and have a positive mindset, and then develop your goal, then develop a plan. So I'm going to the action component of those 7 steps right now, because honestly, all of those things could be great, but
Yeah.
if you don't take action, you're going to be moored at the dock, not going anywhere. So I think it's really important to be clear about what you want to do and how you want to get there, and then do it. Some action is better than no action.
Yep.
Done is better than perfect. There's all of these things that get in the way of us getting out of our comfort zone, as we were talking about earlier, taking risks. A lot of times taking meaningful action involves taking risks, and you don't know where it's going to go. But it's the only way to really get to the life that you want, instead of the life that you've just inherited. I won't go into the whole thing, but before we're 7 years old, we absorbed our influences like little sponges. We have very little ability to discern whether it's what we want to think or not want to think. And that becomes our underlying operating system. It's up to us through personal development to say, is this how I want to be? Is what I learned before I was 7, are those the core values? Is that the mindset that I want to go through life with? And it's not, it takes effort sometimes, I'll be honest, journaling and meditating, then going to your friends, your support relationships. Then when you take that meaningful action, it really is meaningful. And I've been so blessed in my life to be in situations where this has happened and brought me unbelievable joys and benefits. And I'll give you a little bit of my backstory, which is that,
Claire, by the way, I'm sitting here taking notes on all these things. And before I want to hear your backstory, but I feel I want to home in on this one question that I got over and over again when they asked about you coming on the show.
Okay,
And
good.
it's the same thing over and over again. And a lot of it was based, and I sent it around. Somebody sent me recently, which is no different than we heard before, the 5 regrets people have before, when they're talking to you right on their deathbed. And 3 of them you've just covered, which is, why did I leave a life that others wanted me to? Like, I regret that. Like, why? 2, why did I let people talk me out of things that I really wanted to do? And the third one is, working too much, whatever. But I want to focus on, here we are. We've read all the books about the regrets people have, but this is just something that just came out a few days ago. And we're still making the same mistakes over and over again. So they wanted me to ask you, they know this logically, this one woman says, but I so much want to fit in that I don't know how to just break the mold and tell people, no, I want to go this direction. And this is a woman who's 35. She has 3 kids. She doesn't like what she's doing. She's an engineer and she wants to switch careers.
It starts with really looking deep inside and learning to trust yourself. When you are so dependent on the reaction and the opinion of other people, it means that you're not confident in who you are. And I will tell you that confidence has to come from your own work. For me, just today, I mean, this is I'm working on marketing, and I'm at a loss, like, how do I help my clients? So I went in and I looked at my testimonials because I couldn't be objective about it.
Yeah.
And that's where getting friends and families and reading books. I mean, I can't say enough about reading books, and then taking the time to not just read them, but sit and think about them and look at how it applies to yourself. Self-contemplation, looking at, I have an exercise that I've done with a lot of people, which is to look back on your life, create a timeline. And I would encourage all of you to do this. Create a timeline of your life. I like to do it in Excel or spreadsheet because then you can insert when you forget, like, oh, right, I forgot that I did this, right? So
Yeah.
I don't care if you get the year right, but the important thing is, what did I do? And how did I feel when I did that? What did I learn?
Ooh.
And you want to go back to that you want to go back and you want to pull out, because we are all incredibly creative people. When they talk to a group of kindergartners and they say, who in here is an artist, and they all raise their hand, and the older you get, the fewer hands go up, because we are buffeted by negative impact, negative
Yeah.
feedback, our own self-doubt, and that confidence has to come from within you. And it comes from, what we look for is what we find. And our mind is like a garden. And the more that we pay attention to growing the flowers instead of the weeds, which will take over, and the weeds are all those negative, and we live in a very negative environment. I don't watch the news. It's cultivated to make us scared. It's cultivated to make us afraid. It's cultivated to induce an insecure, scarcity mindset. So I go to resources that counterbalance that and make me look at life with a much more positive attitude. But going to her question, once you start to care about what you want to do more than what other people want you to do, then you start to make very different decisions. Very different decisions.
So somebody said this to me, and I really wanted to get your input. Sandy, I realized a long time ago, even the people that really love me, They have their own issues. They're not spending all day long thinking about me. So why am I so worried about what people think when they're really got their own stuff going on?
So the way we look at life, right? We look at life as though it's a play, and we're co-starring with everybody that we meet. We have an equal role on the stage in their life. And in many cases, we're a walk-on or an extra. But we inflate who we are in their lives and make it way more important than it usually is. And we also assume, if you've never read the 4 agreements, I know one person that doesn't, but the 4 agreements, right? Don't make assumptions, don't take things personally. Excellent, excellent, excellent book. I highly recommend it. So when you look at it from the point of view is what's important to me. Now, you need to be kind and courteous and considerate, but the rest of it should come from your own heart.
All right, Claire, now let's get back to the meat of it, which is your backstory and how you got here. And you said you've really been doing it since you were a child.
I really have. I mean, in 10th grade, I was an exchange student I went to a radical women's college. I was on an archaeological expedition. I graduated. I went on a cross.
Whoa. You did what?
Oh, sorry.
No, this is good. This is good stuff. Hi. Who is this? Who is this?
Baby cat.
Hi, baby cat. All right, so you did.
I went on an
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, well, it was in Nevada, so not quite so dramatic. That was just I went on a cross-country bicycle trip for 8 weeks after college. And then I graduated from college and I got a job selling popcorn to my father's immense distress. I paid for college and you're selling popcorn. But going back to intentional relationships, I met somebody that I really liked and I said, he's going to be my friend. And we eventually dated, but he started his own company. And I said, I'm going to be a part of that company. And he was skeptical. He made me pass a test. And then that company became TLA Video, TLA Entertainment Group, and we were together as partners for 33 years.
Whoa. What was the test?
I had to find a printer. Now, this was before, remember, I started when I was very young.
Yeah, very young.
Before the internet. So I had to find a printer for our printed program guides. This was the test I had to pass. And we sold the business 10 years ago today for millions, despite the fact that it was valued at 0. Again,
from popcorn.
So I've always found this, that when you pay attention to who you're being, how you're being, develop that mindfulness and that self-awareness. And again, positivity is so very important. And I could get all woo-woo. I won't. I'm a practical person. I'm working on my marketing plan right now. Yes. For the year and my blogs and all that. And that's what I work on with my clients. But there's an element of how much you believe in what you can accomplish. And this is where those self-limiting beliefs can so often trip us up. And the power of affirmations. So the trick with affirmations is that you can say an affirmation, but if you don't believe that it's going to come true, it's just words.
Absolutely.
So, and the other trick is to catch yourself in the middle of a negative thought and turn it around. Because what we think about, we bring about, and what we visualize, we materialize. So if you are looking at your lack of clients, and that's what you see. First of all, emotions have energy and they will bring you down. So when you are discouraged in any one of the lower level emotions, you are not as much able to take that meaningful action. So, and this again is where friends can, I can't tell you how, and I know you're the same exact way, right? You go to friends or coaches or mentors, to get that boost when you don't have it in you.
Yeah.
But it's so important to really work on your attitude. I love
Baby cat wants the limelight, man. Baby cat wants the limelight.
she always wants the limelight. So really working on, again, if you go back to the way you run a company, right? We run our lives like we run a company. A company looks at its people, us and our relationships, and says, do we have the right people on the boat, right? And do we have the right goals in place? And then what are we doing to get to those goals? But we look at ourselves not like a company. So that's why I put self-mastery, because it all starts with you. The hardest person to lead is yourself, right? It's really easy to boss other people around. It's very easy to have an opinion about what somebody else should do. It's much more difficult to look at what you know you could. I hate the word should. I find it the most damaging word in the English language. Because if wishes were horses, beggars could ride, right? It is what it is. I'm a pragmatist, right? One of the friends of my daughter had a boyfriend that was always late. I'd say, he's always going to be late, and this wall is white. And you might as well say, maybe he'll be on time and this wall is green. No, he's always late and the wall is right. So taking that it's white attitude and then saying, how can I make the best of it? Out of every adversity come the seeds of opportunity. The problem is we look at the adversity, we don't look for the opportunity.
Okay, let me unpack that again. All right, because that's huge. So there are a lot of people, I'm getting comments here, that in their corporation, they are there to solve problems. But the one, we let gentleman comment, the gentleman is saying when he thinks that, all he thinks is of more problems, but he doesn't know how to get out of that mindset. Because yes, he likes to be the one that comes up with the answers and solutions, but the way, is there another way, Claire, of wording it? Because all he's thinking about, problem, solve, problem, solve.
Well, I think Stephen Covey said it the best when he begin with the end in mind. What does the ultimate great scenario look like? So instead of focusing on what's wrong, look for what's right or how to make it right. So focus on, let me make it. So I don't like the color of my wall, right? I don't like when I've been thinking about this, maybe it's time to get something new. Well, I can either keep, oh my God, it's white and I can't stand it. Or I can say that meaningful action, right? I'm going to get online and I'm going to look for a better wall. I'm going to look for, but beginning with the picture of what it is that you want rather than staying quagmired in what it is now is really the best approach to take. And again, if you can't do it yourself, ask for help from somebody. Because that outside perspective is invaluable. This morning, I was about to send out an email and I went to a friend and I said, what do you think of it? And she said, nope, don't send it. Now, this is a friend that I trust.
Yes.
You have to be very careful who you ask for opinions from, right? Because you can get those negative Nellies. But I trust this person implicitly and she always has my back. So I knew she would be honest and give me an alternative, which is exactly what she did.
What a gift that is.
Yep. I am so blessed with the people in my life. But it was hard work and bravery. Let's talk about that. How do you make new friends?
Well, you invite them to a party at your house, apparently.
I'm in church choir. I'm primarily in church choir because I like to sing in the people. We won't get into organized religion. That's a whole other topic, but I love it. And I met this woman in choir. I don't know. We're trying to figure out, I'm going to say 10 years ago, and I really liked her, but she was uber shy. It took me 6 months to break her down. She's now my best friend. And we laugh like 6 months, Betty. 6 months it took us, for you to like give in and go out and get a cup of coffee with me. But I was persistent. So, they might say no. Oh, well. That's where risk and getting out of your comfort zone really pays off.
All right. So I want to make sure they're going to kick my butt if I don't get this question in. When you're describing a lot of things you're doing, it's showing you innately feel good about yourself. You're comfortable in your own skin. Even when you came back and you're like, come to my house for a party. That takes chutzpah. That's a lot of guts, right? How do they, that's not an easy thing to develop.
Well, I'm going to be transparent for a minute here. And I found myself in a situation a year ago where I was being bullied.
Oh.
And I let this person get to me in a big way. So even now, I mean, it doesn't stop, right? So I really had to dig in to who I am and why I was letting this guy get to me and why I was letting him affect my self-confidence. It is a work in progress.
Yeah.
And some people are born, and I was blessed with very supportive parents. And I thank my lucky stars, because I know when you are raised with a lot of negativity, it's a much harder uphill climb.
It is.
It really is. And you do have the ability to climb up. It's not insurmountable. Anyone can do it. The first step is the commitment. I'm committed to feeling better about myself. And the second step is to really increase your level of self-awareness and objectivity and compassion about yourself. It's so important. We judge ourselves mercilessly. Would you say half of the things to a best friend that you say to yourself? Right?
Yeah. No.
Even this morning, I was on a call with somebody I really respect, and she said something like, "Oh yeah, that's how I am." Very disparagingly. It was in the middle of something, so I didn't call her out on it, but you have to be very careful when you say those things.
It's true.
Practice, and it's not egotism. Self-confidence is different than egoism. And so understanding your strengths and your weaknesses. I know my strengths. I know my attention to detail is terrible. You don't want me, in the doctor's office. You don't want me doing anything that requires a lot of attention to detail. You just don't. But I look at my strengths and I minimize my weaknesses. So it all boils down to the work that you do with yourself, your coaches, your friends.
I think that's a big one. And I realized that years ago when my son was like, Mom, why don't you really care what people think? And of course I care what people think, but maybe not to the same extent he was thinking. And I thought about it. And I believe one of my best attributes is I was okay with all my stuff. Like I was just okay with it. Like I'm not perfect. I'm a human being. And I'm not trying to mask that I'm good at this or I don't make mistakes. I cannot tell you how many times I go, crap, I wish I didn't say that. I wish I didn't do that. But I don't beat myself up for it.
Yep. That's so important. Self-compassion, not practiced enough, highly underrated. Now, holding yourself accountable.
Yeah, that's different.
And fixing mistakes is a very different thing, because we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
I don't like the word failure. I think everything is a learning lesson, is an opportunity.
I agree.
One of my favorite things is that a great batter has a 70% miss rate, right? Like,
is that crazy? Isn't that crazy?
It's wild to me. So we don't look at our lives like that. Yeah. Imagine if we looked at our lives like that, right? I got 30% of it right. I'm a star.
Yay! Think about that. If we did that more, we would put ourselves out there more. We would take risks.
Absolutely.
For me, the reason I was like, I'm going to do things that make my stomach flutter more is because I never say the F word. Like you say failure, I say the F one. But to me, not putting myself out there is the failure to me. It may not work out. It may not ever work out, but I have to put myself out there.
I agree 100%. And I'm rewarded every time. Is the reward what I expected? Not always, but I will find the reward. I will find the gem that I needed in that experience because life is always working for you. I know people disagree with me. It is up to you what you make of it.
No, I agree. Well, they know I agree. And I didn't put her up to that, people. I did not put her up to that. Claire, it's funny because I'm sitting here live with you and I think I've got to know you in a whole different way that I didn't know, which I love, love, love. And I'm sad that our time is up, but that's okay. I'm sure we will chat again somewhere along the line.
Monday morning
Monday morning. There you go.
at our little support group
Yeah, and our speaking.
because I practice what I preach.
Yes, and that, but the thing that I want to home in here is even coaches, great leaders, mentors, it's very difficult. Well, you were talking about you're going to send out this email. Sometimes it's really difficult to see yourself because it's so personal that I do have other coaches, mentors, leaders who can look in and see me that I really value and trust.
Yep.
You know, it's so
Yep.
important. So let's tell the people out there, because they're going to want to work with you, how they can find you, what's the best way that they can have a conversation with you to see if you guys are a good fit.
If you go to both LinkedIn and my website, and I've got blogs there that talk a lot about what I've been talking about today, or you go to LinkedIn, there's a link to schedule a 30-minute consultation.
Oh, good.
And I am a very low pressure person. I promise value because I love coaching. I love, love, love coaching. I love asking questions, digging in, and seeing many times people have the answers themselves, and other times I bring my 30 plus years of experience to the table to show them something that they might not otherwise know. So please schedule a consultation. I promise you'll walk away with value. And if it's a fit, we'll discuss working together. And if it's not, we don't.
Sounds good to me. All right, hey, I got something to say, people. Don't worry if you miss this, because why I've changed it to Facebook and Zoom, it's being recorded. So afterwards, we're going to put on all the sites, wherever you want to go, YouTube, Spotify, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Did I miss something? Twitter, X, whatever, it'll be there. And Claire and I would really appreciate you sharing it and spreading the love. Claire, anything we didn't get in that you want to say to the people around the world?
Remember that what you think about, you bring about, and what you visualize, you materialize.
Oh, I love that.
So that's my guidepost in life. So constantly be looking ahead with positivity and enthusiasm.
You heard it, baby. I'm writing down all these notes. You would think I would know all these things. I practice them every day, but what Claire says, every single day, I tend my garden for the flowers.
Yep.
You know, I'm not every single day of my life. You know, it's not like, yay, every day is Pippy Skippy, but every single day. All right, that's all for now. You know what I'm going to say. Thank you, Claire, and toodles.